going on, everybody? Welcome back. So today we're going to be doing a will it start video on this 1972 Ford F-250 sitting behind me here. So this truck's been sitting for at least 14 years. We used to use it when we built houses back before the market crashed in 2008. So it's been parked since then. It was parked inside for a while, but I ended up taking some parts off of it for another truck, and we pulled it outside probably about 6 years ago. So it's been sitting in this spot outside in the weather for about 6 years. If you haven't seen any of my other will it start videos, I'll go ahead and link them up here. So let's go ahead and pop the hood and see what we're going to need to get this thing running again. Yeah. All right, let's do a little inspection here, see what we need. We're gonna need a battery. Looks like the starter solenoid's gone. We got the points missing out of there. Need to get the cap, rotor, all that stuff back on. So I went ahead and grabbed some parts off the F-750. So I think we got all the parts we need to get this thing started. Go ahead and get started, just getting everything back together that we need to get this thing running. Like I said, I grabbed some parts off the F-750. Just get this starter solenoid hooked up. Wire from the starter here. Okay, we got everything hooked up on our ignition, so we should be good to go there. We'll go ahead and take the breather off this carburetor, give us a little more room, work on the distributor, get the points back in it. Got the coil sitting over here, ignition coil. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and blow this distributor out. It's got a bunch of dirt and everything in it before I put the points back in it. Okay. Ouch. Keep hitting my head on that hood. Alright, that all looks good now. Went ahead and shined up the rotor a little bit. It was a little rusted. Let's throw it back on here. This whole thing is a little rusted, so we might have to do some cleaning on it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go get some sandpaper and sand that down real quick. There we go. Looks like it's down on there now. Go ahead and mount this coil up. It's also got this spring attaches to the carburetor. I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the spark plugs out, and I'm gonna squirt some oil down in the cylinders. That way we got a little bit of lubrication before we try to start turning this thing over. All right guys, I'll bring you over to this side, a little bit easier to see. I went ahead and got all the plugs out, and I took them over to the wire wheel grinder there, and I got them all cleaned up, all the contacts, because they were rusted really bad in the threads, so they should go in a lot easier. Squirt a little bit of oil in these cylinders just so we have a little lubrication before we get some oil pressure built up. Good on that. We'll just throw these plugs back in here. All right, we got all the plug wires on. Let's go ahead and check the oil before we try to crank this over. Oil looks good. Smells like oil, so we're good there. Battery hooked up here. Let's see if I can go in there and see if it'll crank it all before I add any fuel to it. Nice little rat's nest in here. Go ahead and get my jump and carry box here, because we're probably gonna need it after all the cranking we'll probably be doing before we can get the thing started. If y'all don't have a jump box, this thing's great. I'll go ahead and link it down in the description below if you don't have one. I've been using this one for about 2 years, and it's been really good to me. We'll go ahead and just hook it up, tell our bolts there. We'll go ahead and just jump the solenoid here so we don't have to keep jumping in and out of the truck. Still nothing. Oh, there we go. Turn on our jump box there, give it a little extra juice. We just got a bad connection here. right, I'm gonna try to see if the key will work now. All right, it turns over, so probably built up a little bit of oil pressure there, lubricating some stuff. Now let's add some fuel to the gas tank here. All right, that should be enough to get us started, hopefully. Let's jump in here. Oh yeah, rocking like 1972. Pump the gas. Come out here and see if we can see if we're getting any fuel or not. Here, I think I can get a good view here. Hold on a second. Don't see no fuel there yet. So we're not getting any fuel to the carburetor. I'm gonna go ahead and take his line off here, see if it's even getting up to it or not. All right, no fuel to the carburetor. All right, I added some more fuel to it just in case. And let's jump underneath. We'll try to take that filter off, fuel pump, and see if we can got any fuel there. There we go. Ooh, some nice brown fuel in there. I don't see any fuel getting to us here, so we might have a clog in a line going back to the tank. So we'll try to take this line off, going back to the tank, and blow directly into it. This hose ain't the best. Kind of got a kink in it right there. We might just go get a piece of hose and replace that. Well, yeah. What do you think about that? That thing just deteriorated off, so assume that's probably our problem. Got something probably stuck in there. Go get another line, fuel line. That way, if we get this unclogged, I'm not gonna have fuel running out everywhere. All right, I'm gonna picked up a new piece of fuel line there and got it hooked up to the hard line going back to the tank. Went ahead and put our filter back on because everything's good in there. Let's try to blow some air back through this line, see if we can't get anything out of it. See if I can put a little pressure to the tank. There we go, we got some fuel coming out. That stuff looks pretty nasty. I'll let it drain a little bit. All right, I went ahead and hooked that fuel line back up down there, so we're all good to go. We're getting fuel to the pump. So now I got this line hooked up here. Let's crank it a little bit more and see if we can get some fuel up into the carburetor now. Got fuel in the carburetor now, so it's a good sign. Now I'm gonna crank it a little bit more, see if we can't get it to fire up at all. We might have to check the spark if we don't get any fire. Well, yeah, we got it to fire once there, so I think we're good on the spark. Let's try cranking it a little bit more, see if we can't get this thing started up. Getting closer. Go ahead and crank on it some more. Hey guys, we got her started at least here for a little bit. Probably just burning some crud out of it. If you're all enjoying this video, go ahead and hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel. Let's try to get this thing to start idling. Then we can air some of these tires up because they're about all the way flat, most of them. They're sunk down in the ground, and see if we can't get this thing backed up. All right, it actually started clearing up a little bit there. Getting a little heat in this engine, burning some of that oil off the exhaust manifolds and whatnot. All right guys, I topped off the coolant. I actually adjusted the points because they're a little bit out of adjustment. Threw some air in the tires. Now, let's go ahead and see if we can't get this truck out of the hole it's sitting in. Well, I think one of the front brakes is locked up, but it did move a little bit. It is actually running a lot better, idling good and everything. This engine sounds great. It's gonna make a great engine to put in my F-250. Might have to get a tractor hooked to it, pull it out. Definitely that front right tire that is locked up. Seen it dragging along there. Little hole it was in. See if we can try to drive it forward. Get that wheel brake to unlock. If not, we'll probably have to take that wheel off and work on that brake before we can try to drive it around. There we go. I think we're just pushing that front tire, but decided to get on the pavement over here and might free it up. Yeah. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, we were pushing that front tire. See that mark all the way along there. I got that brake freed up. The pad was just rusted to the drum there. All right, got it all back together. Let's go take it for a test drive now. Man, that thing starts up good. It'll be hard to drive with one hand, but we'll give her a shot. Come on, baby. Yeehaw! Thing's like a boat, just floating. It's all just about to fall off. Doesn't smoke at all. All right, we got the truck running. Sounds really good for sitting for the last 14 years. That's awesome because we're gonna be swapping this engine out and putting it in the F-750 dump truck. If you haven't seen any of those videos, go check them out. If you guys like the video, go ahead and hit that like button down below. Consider subscribing to the channel and keep an eye out for some future videos on this truck and the F-750 dump truck, because we'll be swapping those engines out. And that's gonna be it for today's video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.